hate when the newscasters stick.
You're ready. We're on.
We're on. Welcome to another week of Cooking with Dolan. Today we're at the Rum Runner in Seabright. We were at the Rum Runner our first week of doing the show. We're back here now. We're back because we're getting ready to open for Mother's Day takeout and curbside pickup. We have a beautiful brunch package. We're also doing, along with brunch, we have family meals ready to go. Go to McLoons.com. Look at what packages are available, and we hope to see an order from you real soon. Today's a special day. We're also open up at the Robinson Ale House in Red Bank as we step a little closer to some normality. Don't forget about the Robinson Ale House for great burgers and salads and entrees. They're going to be open for lunch and dinner, so we hope to see you there. Today we're going to do some of my favorite cooking. We're cooking some Italian food. I've really been interested in Italian food for a long, long time, probably about 20 years of my cooking career. When I started cooking, I marveled at so many chefs that had their own style. Emeril Lagasse in New Orleans and Bobby Flay in the Southwest and teetering with Spanish cooking. Mario Batali with Italian food. Julia Child earlier with French. I often wondered what my style would be. It didn't take much more than to look at my family tree and remember my Sicilian grandmother, and I immediately grasped Italian food. I looked forward to learning as much as I could about Italian food. Moreover, I started really paying attention to Sicilian food, and I started reading as much as I could, and I'm sure every cook and line cook that I've ever worked with will tell you that I bore them with story after story about Italian food. With that being said, we're going to do 2 pasta dishes today and a side dish, or an antipasto. As an antipasto, we're going to do fresh roasted peppers. It's a Neapolitan presentation for the dish. It's fresh roasted peppers, some wine-soaked raisins, some pignoli nuts, a little olive oil, garlic, and fresh herbs. From there, we're going to go into Bucatini matrician, one of my favorite dishes. It comes from Rome. That is a pancetta base or studded tomato sauce. Then we're going to go into a Sicilian dish, a bit of a tongue twister, pasta a Picchio Pacchiu. One of the first Sicilian dishes I learned to make. And so we're going to do 3 dishes. I hope you enjoy them. And we're going to start right now with the Bucatini matriciana. So, Bucatini matriciana is a Roman dish, as I said. It hails from a town called Amatrice. In 2016, the town actually suffered a horrible earthquake. And chefs from all over the world were making this dish to pay tribute to these poor suffering people that experienced this hardship of this horrific earthquake. This is a great dish. I think you're going to like it. And I'm going to start. So, we're going to start with 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a medium hot pan. We're going to add to it some pancetta. Pancetta is Italian bacon. It's not smoked. Traditionally, the dish starts with something called guanciale. Guanciale is a cured pig jowl. Can be a hard find in America. Any type of pork product like pancetta or guanciale will do. I wouldn't recommend prosciutto. It doesn't have the fat content. But we're going to start by rendering some of this fat from the pancetta. Pasta takes about 9 minutes, so I'm going to see if I can do this dish within 9 minutes. Here we have bucatini. It's also called perciatelli. Sometimes you'll see pastas have different names. So perciatelli and bucatini are synonymous. We're going to put this into some boiling water. Perciatellis and Bucatini is a fat spaghetti with a hole in it. We're going to salt our water. So our pasta's cooking. Our pancetta is rendering its fat in beautiful olive oil. And we just want to get this a little crisp. Pancetta's a pretty easily purchased product. You can get it in any of your Italian specialty markets, supermarkets. You can buy it in a big chunk. You can buy it already sliced.
Mike, someone's asking if you can use bacon.
You can use American bacon in a pinch. My only issue with American bacon is that it's smoked, and it's really going to manipulate the flavor of the dish. If you can find an unsmoked bacon, by all means, use it. But then again, if you want to try the dish with bacon, there's fantastic American bacons, and it's worth a shot if you can't find pancetta. So for here, we're going to add a medium-sized onion. We're going to sweat this onion. We're going to cook this just for a couple of minutes, just so all those flavors marry together. The sweet onion and the pancetta, along with that pancetta fat, which is really, really going to make a wonderful dish. We're going to pay attention to our pasta, of course. We're going to season as we go. This dish, when I had it in Italy, it was served with black pepper. A lot of chefs will use it with red pepper flakes. I love the black pepper in it, so I've always stuck with it. By all means, if you'd like to use red pepper, that's great. If you'd like to use a mixture of both, that's equally fantastic. So I like to use fresh ground pepper, and I like to really open it up so it gets a little coarse and chunky. I like the mouthfeel on it, and I think it adds a really, really nice flavor and dimension to our dish. So we're going to continue to cook, and we're doing really well here. We only have a few more ingredients in this dish. While you're cooking, always smell what you're cooking. Take in the smells, the flavors. They'll come right to your, right to you and see where you're at. We have some really, really nice goings on as we speak. Bacon and onions is a great, great flavor. So, this week with Mother's Day coming up, if you'd like to pay tribute to your mom, send us a photo to corporate@mcloons.com. We'll post it on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So please, by all means, send us those pictures of your mom. We wish we could be hosting you in our restaurants. Unfortunately, it's not the time for such. But of course, we can, we can do our to-go Mother's Day brunch and our, to-go dinners will be great. So we hope to see you there. So we've got some nice flavor going on here. We're going to add our tomatoes right now. We have about, for 4 people, about 36 ounces of Italian whole peel tomato. They're going to go right in the pan. I like to buy Italian whole peel tomatoes and squeeze them myself. I just feel I know what I'm getting then, as opposed to crushed tomatoes or tomato puree. I want to feel that tomato. I want to see what it looks like whole. There's some great Italian whole peel tomatoes out there. Find one you like and stick with it. And that holds true with olive oil or a certain type of pasta or whatever. So we're going to keep cooking. So in this pan again, we have our tomato product, our olive oil, a little pancetta, our onion, and some black pepper. I've seen chefs do this dish with wine. A little white wine would be fine. Red wine would probably be great too. It's just a little richer. I would pick your spot if you're using a wine. In the summer, I'd probably use a white. In the winter, if I was dead set on using one, I'd use red. So, with tomatoes, they don't take a long time to cook. You hear a lot of people say, I cook my sauce for, 12 hours or 15 hours or whatever. For a ragu on a Sunday, that's great. But if you're making a quick tomato sauce, for 1 or 2 or 3, you can literally be done for 1 in 8-9 minutes. It's just really quickly putting that dish together. You're bringing some heat. These tomatoes are already cooked, so it doesn't take as long as you may think. So we're going to continue to cook here.
Is that on a high heat or medium?
That's on high heat, yeah. As we're waiting for this, we're just going to bring this up to a quick simmer. And from there, we're going to go to the plate. So in the interim, we're going to do some roasted peppers. I'd love to take credit for this dish, but I can't. I stole this dish from a great restaurant in Harlem, New York called Rayo's, which anyone that knows a lot about Italian food or anything about Italian food knows that Rayo's is a really, really acclaimed restaurant, a really, really hard seat to get. My sister gave me a book by Rayo's in the early 2000s. I loved the book, and I loved how they did these roasted peppers, and they've been with me ever since. So, for the roasted peppers, we have a couple cloves of garlic. We're going to smash them and mince. On fresh garlic, when you're adding it to a salad, you really don't want to overkill it with garlic. Fresh garlic will be really strong. So we're going to put these right into a mixing bowl. We have some roasted peppers here. Roasting a pepper, don't buy a can of roasted peppers. They're loaded with citric acid, and you'll taste that. Roast your own peppers. All I did here is I tossed some red pepper in some olive oil. They went right onto the grill until they got nice black skins, and then all you have to do is just scrape that skin off. Now what you'll get here is a real buttery red pepper. A sweetness that will come out that you're not quite used to when you've opened up a can. So I like to take the seeds out. So we have a red pepper, and we're just going to slice it. It's going to go in. It's going to go into a mixing bowl with the garlic. There's our peppers. We have some pine nuts. Pignoli nuts can be a little expensive. We're going to use about 2 ounces of these. Some people toast their pignoli nuts. That's great, but the taste really, really intensifies, and you also increase your risk of burning your beautiful pignoli nuts that you just spent $6 or $10 on. So, by all means, if you're diligent and you're going to watch the stove, great. But if you don't trust yourself, use them just right out of the jar. They have a wonderful flavor. They're not too intense. And they're great. We're going to take some Italian parsley. I already washed the parsley. As I said last week and probably the week before, I like Italian parsley. I don't like curly parsley. It doesn't have the flavor that Italian parsley has. We're just going to dress that right into the peppers. We're going to season with a little salt. We're going to season with a little pepper. We have some sun-dried, or excuse me, some raisins here. I can't lie to you. I was going to use raisins, and unfortunately, all I had in the restaurant was craisins, a sun-dried craisin. They're equally great, so don't feel like if you only have craisins in the house, all they're going to be is maybe a touch sweeter. Raisins or craisins are great. I soaked it in a couple ounces of white wine. You'll find raisins all through Southern Italian cooking. You'll find them from Naples down into Sicily. They use it a lot. They usually use them married to pine nuts. Where you see one, you see the other. My good friend Paul Ranieri, his family's Neapolitan. He uses raisins in his meatballs, and they just provide a little sweetness, and they're absolutely tremendous. So we have everything in the pan. We're going to dress this with some good extra virgin olive oil. We're going to toss. We're going to take it to the plate. And there you have a wonderful roasted pepper appetizer. This is great as an antipasto. It's great with some nice crusty bread. You don't have to add any vinegar to it. You'll really taste the pepper here, and you'll really enjoy it. So we have beautiful roasted peppers. Enjoy your antipasto. Now we're going to get back to our matriciana. Our matriciana is cooking. Our sauce is done. Our pasta's way done. I cut the heat when no one was watching. Our pasta is going to go right into the pan. With pasta takes about 9 minutes. You want to take it out about a minute before it's done. Take it out, put it into your sauce, and let the two items become one. So, we have our bucatini. We're going to let that cook for another minute. We're going to dress it with a little more black pepper. We're going to add a little salt, but not much. And we're going to add a little salt because we have some salty pancetta. And we're going to finish this dish with pecorino. Pecorino is very salty. So there's various different types of pecorino. There's pecorino di Sardo, which is from Sardinia. There's pecorino toscano from Tuscany. We're using pecorino romano. Pecorino romano is from Rome. So beautiful brand you can see in the stores, Locatelli. It's one of the best you'll ever find. I grated some Locatelli here. We're going to finish with this Locatelli, and we're going to go right to the plate. We're going to add to this a little fresh parsley. This will bring a nice freshness to the dish. All right, so chef's used a little too much sauce here, and he's bothering him because he feels like he's misleading you. So I would cut down the tomato by about 12 ounces. I think I said 36. Go to about 24 24 ounces because you really want it to, you don't want it to be too soupy. And for me, this is a little soupy, and I misled you, and I apologize. So, if anything, I'm honest with all these flaws. We're going to go right to the plate now. I'm going to hit this with a little pecorino. That. We're going to hit this with a little sauce. A little more pecorino. And there you have Bucatini and matriciana. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to move forward. All right. Hopefully I don't make this one as soupy as I did, so I apologize for that. We're going to make pasta Picchio Pacchiu now. One of the first Sicilian dishes I learned. They say the word Picchio Pacchiu comes from the sound of the sauce stewing a little. So, I don't know, Sicilians have all sorts of weird stories to their cooking, and they're all very entertaining and funny. Needless to say, that's where I think the name of the dish comes from. Okay, so we're going to start off with, we have a pound of spaghetti. We have some fresh tomato. It's about 4 pounds. We have 5 cloves of garlic. We have some shrimp, about 1 pound. And we have some peperoncino, which is hot pepper flakes, and some basil. Peperoncino, my old neighbor Jerry D'Elia, Don Gerardo, every year gives me the best dried chilies that he makes, that he grows and he takes care of. And they're absolutely fantastic. I know Mr. D'Elia is just recovering from surgery. I hope you're doing great, Don Gerardo. Thanks for the chilies and get well, okay? So, we're going to start with our pasta Picchio Pacchiu. Our pasta is going to go in the water. This is about 1 pound of spaghetti. In the water, always right when we put it in the water, we're going to season with salt. I only do it at that moment so I remember that I season the water. I don't like doing it ahead because I will certainly forget.
That's a good tip.
So, and then I'll have really salty pasta. So, we have some olive oil, about 1/4 cup. We have about 5 cloves of garlic that I'm going to lightly smash. A little parsley's on my knife, no big deal. So, we have our garlic in. And now we're going to move a little quick because we don't want that garlic to burn. We kept it whole, so it lowers the risk of burning. So we're just going to make it fragrant. We have beautiful olive oil. Our garlic, it really smells nice. We're going to add to this fresh tomato. We have about 4 pounds of fresh tomato. Once we see a little bit of color, we're going to add our tomatoes in. This dish is a great summer dish when those Jersey tomatoes are good. Jersey tomatoes aren't the best tomato to make pasta with because of the water content, but by all means, if you can use your tomatoes for that, you're really going to enjoy the sauce. So we're going to go right in. Hear that sizzle? Be careful with how you're cooking. You don't want any of that hot oil to come back at you. Okay, we're going to season our tomatoes right now. And we're going to season it right now because once salt enters that tomato, it's going to start pulling all those juices out and making the sauce. We're going to cook this for just a couple of minutes. And we're going to add our shrimp. I have about a pound of shrimp. Once again, these are going to get seasoned. You don't have to go crazy with fish because fish or seafood are all automatically a little salty. So you don't want to go overly so. You just want to sprinkle a little salt on them just to bring out the natural flavor of the protein. We're also going to hit it with just a little black pepper. So there we have our shrimp. We have our pasta cooking. Our shrimp go into the pool. And we're going to cook this through.
Can you tell us again what kind of tomatoes you used?
I use Italian whole peel tomatoes. I like to open up a can of tomato and I like to feel it in my hand as I'm squeezing it into the sauce. I don't like ground tomatoes. There's a consistency to them that I've never been comfortable with. You get a lot more for your buck, but at the same time, I feel my dishes are a little imbalanced when using that. The same thing with diced tomatoes. But the question was for this dish, I actually used fresh Roma tomatoes. They were, and right now in the supermarkets, and probably more over, they're probably the best priced tomato out there. Tomatoes got expensive. I was looking at tomatoes yesterday when shopping for the dish that went up to $5.49 a pound. So I am somewhat frugal. Some of my bosses would disagree, but I am somewhat frugal with what I buy at the house. So I do like a nice Roma tomato. Roma is synonymous with plum tomatoes. We use these beautiful shrimp that we got from our friends at Trinity Seafood. They've been our seafood provider at McLoone's restaurants for several years now. And there's some great folks over there, Mike Carson and Nicole Angley, who make our jobs very easy as chefs. They're doing pickup right now where the public can go and purchase from them. They really have top-notch seafood. They're in Lakewood, New Jersey. So go visit our friends at Trinity, and I'm sure they'll take care of you. So we're going to get back to our pasta. Our spaghetti's working. We're going to start working on our basil, because that is going to be another component here. And on basil, you don't have to spend that much time mincing it and dicing it and chopping it to the point where it has no flavor left and turns to mulch. You just want to give it a couple of cuts just to release those essential oils, and you'll get a fragrancy into your dish that just absolutely reeks of Southern Italy. So we go to our basil. We're going to take our basil leaves. This is about we're using about a bunch in this. So what we're going to do is just gently cut our basil, and you want to take off any stems, anything that would that you would feel unpleasant while eating it. And we're going to add it right now. We're coming along really nicely. We're going to clean up as we go.
Steph would be proud.
Steph, my lovely wife, has to admit, right now, my cooking is at an all-time high as I clean while I cook. It is amazing, and don't let her tell you otherwise. I am doing a fantastic job. I keep a little, so whatever I take my shopping bag and I leave it out for whatever I purchased, and I leave it there, and I just keep discarding all my garbage in that bag. So, and again, Steph would admit that. I know that. So, shrimp don't take a long time, just a few minutes. You don't want to overcook shrimp. So, it smells really good in here right now. This is a fantastic dish. Shrimp is not ridiculously priced either in the supermarkets. You know, with shrimp you always, you pay for bigger shrimp. But you can certainly buy 21, 25 shrimp or anything even smaller and use with this dish, and it would be tremendous. Just so you know, when you go to the supermarket too, the numbers on the shrimp, you'll see jumbo shrimp, and then underneath it'll say 1620. Just so for your own knowledge, what does that mean? 16 to 20 pieces make up a pound. The smaller the number, the bigger the shrimp. You'll see U12 shrimp or U15. That U stands for under. So under 12 make up a pound, U15 under 15 make up a pound, and you'll see shrimp as high as wee little shrimp, into the 40s make up a pound.
How do you tell when the shrimp are properly cooked?
It's a good question. So they should get firm. They should be white. They shouldn't have that grayish look to them that they had prior to purchasing. They should be really firm. And we're a couple of minutes off right now, probably 2. You could certainly accelerate this by putting a lid on your pot, and it's just you can probably bang this out in 6 minutes. So but these shrimp have about a minute. Our pasta's done. I don't drain my pasta. I take it right out with tongs or a large a slotted spoon or whatever. I want to have that pasta water there just in case my sauce gets too dry, and I can elongate it, make it more, for lack of a better word, saucy with some pasta water. Well, the pasta water, A, has flavor, B, has body, because the pasta's released a lot of its starch into the water. So you always want to keep that around. If you're going to drain your pasta, maybe put a bowl under it so your sieve would sit on top of a bowl. You drain the pasta, and the water discards it. The pasta water goes in there. But don't rinse. Don't rinse your pasta with cold water or hot water or anything like that, because essentially what you're doing is you're washing the starch away. That allows the sauce to bind to the pasta. So I am going to take out said pasta, and I'm going about a minute, one more time, about a minute shorter than 9 minutes. Now we're going to let this.
So we have another question.
Sure.
Before you put put in the shrimp, do you put in a pinch of sugar to kill the acid in the fresh tomatoes, since the sauce isn't cooking for long?
That is a preference. That's personal preference. There's a lot of people that like a sweeter tomato sauce. Sicilians really enjoy a sweet tomato sauce. My grandmother used to use a pinch of sugar in her sauce. I don't need it that sweet. I actually like it, but by all means, if you like a sweeter sauce, try this. Try this. Taste it. Hey, I want it sweeter. Great. Add some sugar. If you're going to add sugar, add it early as opposed to late. This is really nice cooked pasta and perfectly married to the condiment. Unlike the amatriciana that I made that was way too saucy. So fast forward through that part, all right? Just focus on the Sicilian dish, the spaghetti alla Picchio Pacchiu. So how we're going to finish this, we're going to add just a pinch of red pepper flakes. Sicilians loathe the taste of black pepper. They like red pepper flakes. So, or pepperoncini. So that's what we're going to use here. We're going to finish this with a little more basil. So we are using that whole bunch. And just a rough chop. You don't have to go crazy with the chiffonade or whatever the terms on the Food Network uses or the magazines or whatever. We're going to drizzle this with a little extra virgin olive oil at the end. Italians wouldn't use cheese on this dish for the most part. There's some Italians that would say, "Oh, I want cheese," and by all means, that's great. What Italians love to do is they love to make rules, break the rules, and then tell you you're breaking the rules. So, by all means, if you want grated cheese on this, it's not as blasphemous as your neighbor might tell you. In Palermo, Sicily, I had a zuppa di pesce that was served at the table with actually with a bowl of freshly grated Pecorino Pecorino Siciliano, where you just finished your zuppa di pesce with. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it. By all means, if you like grated cheese, you're not hurting my feelings. Italians may, or Sicilians may, finish this dish with a little toasted breadcrumb. They like a couple reasons. A, they don't believe in throwing away bread. They're going to use their bread from yesterday for something. Two, they like the textural contrast that they would get from a toasted breadcrumb on top of their pasta, and they feel that would be a little more neutral than the grated cheese. So, and three, just pure frugality. Bread costs a little less than cheese. So, there's our dish, pasta alla Picchio Pacchiu. I hope you enjoy this one. Smells fantastic in here. Perfectly balanced. Who would have figures that I would have gotten the Sicilian dish right and the Roman dish a little off. So I think that's all we have time for today. It was a blast cooking for you again. Thank you so much for those that are watching the show. It really, really means a lot. We're starting to get things going at McLoone's restaurants. Rum Runner's open on Wednesday for a la carte. We're taking orders now for Mother's Day. We'll see you next week at 4 o'clock with Cooking with Dolan, as I like to call the show. 6 p.m. tonight, Tim McLoone on the piano. So my boss will be tickling the ivories. Please tune in there. He does a fantastic job, and we're all thrilled to see Tim play again. And then Friday, we have at 5:30, Cocktails with Bart Cervani, one of my dear friends. Great bartender, our bar manager at the Iron Whale. He'll be bringing us some fantastic libations. Tim will be playing at 6 o'clock music from the 50s. So we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for joining us. Lastly, one last thing. Happy Mother's Day to my mother. Mom, I love you very much. I will see you in the next couple of days, certainly for Mother's Day, and you have a birthday coming up. And to all the other mothers out there, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. Appreciate what we have now, and we'll see you soon.